happy to have you here. Thanks especially to the families who made the trip up, or the families who made the trip from Idlewild too. We appreciate it, and the kids are really excited for you to hear their work. They've got some great stories and poems to present tonight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our first reader. Thanks.
I'm Louis Ham. I'm from Mexico, and I'm a junior, and I'm going to be reading a poem called Phoenix. Now, this poem has two foreign words that you probably won't understand, so I'll explain them first. One of them is an expression in Arabic. It's yaburne. It means you will bury me. And it's basically something people say to each other when they care for them a lot. It's like, you are going to bury me. I am not going to be here when you die. I'm going to die before you because I wouldn't stand living after you died. The other one is a verb in Brazilian Portuguese, and I think it's one of the most beautiful words there is. It's cafuné, and it's the verb of running your fingers through someone else's hair. So yeah, with that in mind, I'm going to read Phoenix. I want our minds to sonder. While we walk down the boulevard, let's become nothing else but a glimpse in a stranger's eye. A background prop in an unrehearsed scene. Like what we do has no real importance. Like we can always fall back on the fact that to them, we are nothing more than what we are. To them, we are just white lines of poetry, all scrambled and mangled together like a soup of broken leaves. We are subjective. We are free, like the meadow that owns us in return, or the rocks that we climb. I want us to look down at the cliff and then let it go. Like there's a dance floor below, it will catch us. I want you to come dance with me. Let us share our bodies like we don't care. I don't care. Not when I'm with you. Not in times like this. When I swing, when you laugh, when you swing, when I laugh, when the pictures we take are not enough to keep the moment strapped and it spills. There's no enemy, no static lack of movement, no. Our minds are uncagable termites, unchangeable oaks, slaps and oars, untamable, non-timeable. We are unable to reach for the moment, and yet we take it like it is breakfast, like it is the last cookie in the jar. We're bold. We are not what shape they molded us in. We are not the words that they made us hear. We are not the dim light waiting for us at the end of our tunnel. We are not what we love, but we love what we are. We are wild, unexpected, but calm. I like feeling like we've known each other for a while, even when the past does not span any longer than the time it took us to get here. Yaburne. I'll beat you to the grave before I have the chance to bury you. I want to relive life 1,000 times and meet you in every version of myself. Wait for me a while. I'll meet you on the other side. We will laugh. I'll make it, just like you did. And if the reality we made does not hold up, we'll make 10 new ones. We'll make 10 new ones. We'll make 10 new ones. And in every single one, we'll make it seem as if time was a concept never invented, never created. We'll live inside of the photographs that can't hold us still. We'll share our boos and wees. I'll cafuné you if you cafuné me. Just let my fingers flow through your hair like debris from a flood getting caught in. You'll hold my fall. I know you will. I'll pick you up, shake off the dust. We'll keep waking. I want our bodies to hike until our minds become nightingales. Like we have eyes for mouths and for eyes, teeth. So let's feed ourselves. Let's pretend we can measure the distance between good and bad, then cut it in half. We'll walk down our trail a million times, a mile, a million times, like milestones made of rhinestones or diamonds made of us. No, we're too cheap for diamonds. Let's become fantasy jewelry instead. Let's rock the roll and hip the hop and dance the songs that we love to sing. Let's become words that don't exist. We'll be said once and then never again. Eternally ephemeral, day after day. Our spirit animal will be a phoenix. will immolate, and from the ashes rise again, reborn, like the day we died was the first day of our lives. And all the wisdom from yesterday will come in handy tomorrow night, and our flames may never be anything more than a random reflection on a passerby's scar, but will be blinding. We'll spread like a wildfire, we'll be a forest, a tree, seedlings flying through the wind. We'll be prisoners of the light, but we'll move in the shade. We'll walk the creek and drink from it. We'll be nature ones, plugged in, a cult of outcasts, a cult of outcasts, a cult of outcasts, interweaving each other's life until we'll grow like a vine. We'll be green, fresh picked, and we'll fit into baskets like pastry trees. When the sun sets, we will become fireflies and we'll rise into dust, becoming no more than the light in the back of a postcard, unchangeable, unchangeable, untamable, non-timable. We'll become the only thing that we've ever longed to be, and the only thing we're good at. We'll become us. Thank you.
I love you too. I miss you.
Come back, well, now that you all know my name is Arthur, I should not have announced that. I am a first-year creative writing senior, and I'm from Palm Springs, California. The name of my poem is The Copper Flora Rain. From the soundless, listless, whiteless pitch, the scentless iris of the enmasked, repulsed as atmospheric rupture tears away my flesh. Now arrest from peace to pink barrage, to the rainbow that conceives a burning baby falling from the ashen sky. I taste the shock as thunder fills my throat. And in that time, I scrape a life away from broken sounds and rolling holes of monotonous teeth. They see me here, and know full well my aura flows outward. It tastes of purple, I hear them say, in English far surpassed my own. My softened will cannot give in, but crawl on bouts of blinded faith and trust, where naught but sanctum can make me rot. I pass up the home, the green, the orange, and beneath a fungal pillar ripe with fly and beetle, I rest my nose and let it absorb the flavor of this world. Cradle me under your wing so I can see some hope. My breath is failing to touch my heart, and the crimson streaks of life are draining from broken dams. Softly, I will spur this passage home, but today I can say I will forever consume the air of Orion's belt.
Yellow. Usually anything funny is yellow because it's so bright? It's an intense color. Yes, intense. That's the word. Signs all over the streets are yellow because there's no way people will notice them. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done, and it was all yellow. Coldplay explains it better than I do. Orange is a beautiful one. Now that we're in the garden, you will be able to feel it, the sun. The way the sun rays kiss your skin, slowly bathing you in warmth, is all orange. Yeah, the fruit works as well, actually. The mix between yellow and red is orange. Like, take a strawberry with a little of lemon, and you got something similar to the sensation of biting an orange. Now, burning. That's a hard one. Let's lay on the cut grass. Everything about it, the way it tickles in your bare legs, the smell, and even the chlorophyllic taste of its leaves is all green. Then we have blue, which is tricky because it's the bipolar color. Blueberries are not blue, and even though the sea is blue sometimes, it is gray and green too. So never trust something that is blue. Maybe the only honest blue thing is the sky. It only changes in its shades and colors, in tones, but it always comes back to blue. You can touch or taste the sky, but think of it as a platter of raindrops and snow. Pretty, isn't it? Purple is just too purple to describe, and let's face it, grapes don't taste purple at all. I can think of other purple things, even though there are so many. Lavender is still purple, for example, but it's something that doesn't smell purple either. Sorry, I'm being a terrible guy, but now I'm getting in this conflict realizing I know nothing about colors. There are lights, but what are lights? That aspect of things that is caused by different qualities of the sensors, reflected or emitted by them, blah, 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 blah. Thanks, Mr. Dictionary, you're not helping me at all. It sounds logical, but it doesn't sound real. So now I'll continue with you, my blind friend, in this search for colors. Let's go with the deep ones, black and white. We could start with an Oreo and savor the contrast, but I don't know. The taste doesn't relate at all with the perspective I have of them. White is when you gladly think that you're already dead and you're somewhere like heaven with bright white everywhere. But then you realize it's actually the ceiling of the hospital and you're still tied to that bed with spindles sinking in your arms. Black is whenever you're conscious that you'll never see anything at all again, because they could not save your eyesight from the terrible accident. I'm sorry because you were born blind, but I used to see color and worship it in paintings, and now all I see is black. Sometimes it's even perfect. You sleep better at night, because even if they turn on the lights, you remain oblivious to what's going on. And inspiration usually strikes whether we're wearing desperation and in fear, like when in the dark. Thank you.
My name's Tristan and I'm a junior. It's my first year here. This poem's called Funeral Storm. He shouts, "Stop, stop. The gravedigger's about to shut the bed of the burial. The burial of the poet's dad. Just give me a minute with him." The poet adjusted his tie, rubbed his eyes. The poem sunk into his sweaty hands. One could hear the cars filling the parking spaces. The gravedigger sucked a deep breath. "Sorry, buddy, we have to begin." His eyes flickered as he scanned the poem. He whispered lines. He bit his nails. His face became pale, like the face of a dead body. He felt dysfunctional and nervous. Dark clouds united. Rain bolted down dynamically. The poet could hear his friends babble frantically upon the raindrops. He threw his poem into the burial. The poem was forming several holes. Tears slithered down his face. The wind began to roar. Branches squeaked. He was too tough to fall to his knees. The poet grabbed his caring friends tight. They walked through the storm of the night.
get drunk off me. Let's drink to childhood, the dancing shadow of a butterfly, hidden in the flight of swallows, the crooning dandelions, to those igneous nights and their fleeting melee in our chests, nights which were strings to our eyes and to our bowls goblet of broken. To rain and raindrops, trembling our dark house with their warmth, reminding us that our foreheads were once the only cradles of our mother's hands, and our tears the only passengers of our father's shoulders. I'm a sip of wine, get drunk off me. Let's drink to swings, and our captivation through their limbo. We became stones, waters, tumbled leaves, to an alley's mendicant, making an alcove out of our empty boxes. In this big colorfulness, you and I were just rainbows. The only chirp of the sparrow was our black and white yesterday. The death of the nightingale didn't take place through the shadow of the cedar. It was the venom of loss, reddish of roses, and the crash of smiles. To asphyxia, the pacifier that turned into mementos in our mouths, a souvenir of bloods not shed, executions not sought, and sobs not heard. To fate, a dancing puppet in the hands of a god whose existence is a foggy path without end. And we, the audience of this show, that has turned each and every one of us to adults. Those who not so long ago were our biggest nightmares. I'm a sip of wine, get drunk off me. Let's drink to drunkenness and harlequin laughter, to remembering the forgotten, to our fictitious selves. Get drunk off me, my dear, because in a striped world where everyone holds a brush, you and I can remain the only white canvases. I'm a sip of wine, get drunk off me.
Is about to go sneak off and go hunting. It wasn't so much the killing that enticed me. It was the adrenaline and the pride of being skilled enough to accomplish the kill. It made me feel like I was actually good at something. At least I could be stealthy and graceful outside. When I was inside, I just felt awkward and clumsy. I swung the sheath over my shoulder and adjusted the strap so that it fit tightly across my chest, while clutching my bow in my other hand. I closed the closet door, my fears of Uncle Nick catching me slowly fading with each passing moment I got closer to the hunt. On my way through the main room, I caught sight of a painting of Uncle Nick and I, done when I was younger and before we'd been caught by the nobles. Uncle Nick's brown and gray hair was carefully tied back, and it made his face look harder than it really was, especially next to my boyish round cheeks and awkward 15-year-old features. My face was gawky with an innocent crooked smile, and my light brown hair hung down messily near my shoulders. Seeing my long hair made me run my hand through my now short and blonde hair. I looked so different, and I felt it too. Uncle Nick still looked the same, though his hair had much more gray in it now. He always seemed to be the constant in my life, even when things got crazy again and again, and we had to move around and hide away and dye my hair different colors. He was always there. I felt a little guilty for hunting against his wishes, but what else was I supposed to do? Sit around and learn spells that I could never master, let alone actually use? When I opened the back door, the cool morning air hit me, filling my nostrils with the brisk scent of pine trees and dirt. I could already hear the smaller critters in the forest running around in the early morning, searching for acorns and nuts, some just coming out of hibernation. I stepped onto the deck and eyed the tree line just a few yards before me. Life was waiting behind it for me to find, and find it I would. The thick trees blocked out the morning sunshine. Anyone else would have gotten lost and eaten up by this forest, never to be seen again. But I knew these woods, and exactly where I was. I also knew every creature and their eating habits. Though many of the animals from the Elder Age had been preserved in this forest, It was also home to other dangerous creatures created by the nobles. Hundreds of their failed experiments made their home in these woods. The height of the trees and the way they were angled was a clear sign that I was heading north, into the center of the forest. Wind nibbled at my nose and ears as the trees grew taller and denser. Twigs and sticks cracked under my feet as I made my way through the thick wood, thinking about how dead I was if Uncle Nick caught me out here. But my uncle's disapproval never stopped me from sneaking out during the early hours of dawn to hunt. It was a peaceful reprieve from having to sit through hours upon hours of lessons. Uncle Nick was obsessed with me learning to master my gifts. I thought it was pointless, but Uncle Nick insisted it was for my protection and to know what to do if I were ever in battle, which was ridiculous because every time I suggested that we fight back against the nobles, he insisted that would be impossible. We always just ran away. So if we were always running, when would I need to fight? So far, there was almost no sign of any good game. I was about to lose hope when suddenly I heard the brush rustle on the other side of the tree. I stopped dead in my tracks. A doe faced away from me, nibbling on a small patch of grass. Its neck curved downward, but from where I was hidden behind the tree, I was afraid to move at all, worried I would scare it off. I swallowed and slowly lifted my foot to take a step back. As soon as I put it down, the doe lifted its head. I wouldn't even breathe as the doe looked from left to right. I prayed that it wouldn't look behind itself, and my prayers were answered when the doe went back to eating the grass again. I would have sighed with relief had I not feared the doe would hear it and run off. I started to come up with a game plan for how to kill the doe before it ran off. I thought about using a spell, but I didn't want to give Uncle Nick the satisfaction, even if he would never know. But hunting as many years as I had, I've been in trickier predicaments before. I steadied my footing and slid an arrow out of the sheath on my back. Slowly, I balanced it across my bow and lifted it up, aiming at the doe's neck. She was still bent over, eating the grass ignorantly. My fingers itched on the bow and I licked my dry lips. My eyes focused and locked on the invisible target I traced with my eyes on the doe's neck. Finally, I pulled the arrow back and I felt the tension in the bowstring tighten as my chest did. As I released the arrow, the world moved in slow motion. The arrow whizzed through the air, the wind suddenly shifted, and just before my arrow reached the doe's neck, the ambiance of my perfect morning shattered, as somewhere in the heart of the forest, a sharp, painful scream pierced the morning air. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hannah Malik from Oceanside. I'm a first-year senior. And my poem is called Ilmen Sinua Olen Pirogatas Helfetin, which translates to, without you, I'm halfway to hell. When your grandmother died, it was too quiet. 1 minute she was there, balding and bleeding, and the next she was gone like the cloud of a cough, a loud clap. The house smelled of her perfume, chemotherapy, cigarettes, and scotch, burning throats and salt. Warmth when you're caught in the rain on the inner cavity, arching whalebones and plush carpet. Watch the glass room. That's where they say she lives. You can still sense her there when you cut your hips against edges, find paper clips and paper flower wreaths. You took away the chairs and burned them after she died so unexpectedly. After Michael went to the fracking fields, a mouthful of rot and a head full of meth. After falling down on little children's feet, down the silent stairs with secrets up top, with the wine-bellied dog in the corner standing upright, the house becomes all too empty. The lights all explode, and the walls pale into mist and whitewash. Cracked splinters and bare rooms with the furniture all covered in white sheets, but the travelers are not coming back. You look up into the arcades, a plasmic radiance filling your throat with bile and sadness and heat. The wretched retching, the wrenching of your tongue from its cords, an electric pulse of red, and bubbling black as your irises boil over in fear, the uncomfortable warmth and clammy chill clashing against your spine from crown to tiptoe. Curled against the dark of the kitchen door. The skeleton key and the clipped passages of words too big to scrape the walls. And the morgue's downstairs. You wonder if they're all there, the cryptic shades of childhood past. The phases between divorce and leaping outward. The endless expanse, the pitch of night accents the fear of the troubled traipsing fool. It's you. And you shiver and quake and grasp the skirts of the women never there. You. Child, take this now, the sugared razor blade, the pill. Take it, they whisper, with words against the enfolded gods, and your heart's cuts, and you do, because you think it will help. You thought. And that was enough to sentence you to all the thoughts of a diseased mind, a fell swoop of happenstance, fatal chance, coincidences filing past with eyes ablaze in amber, mouths a tongue of flame, a beast to throw back alcohol and dreams, pills and IVs. It's intangible, but you know the wisp and you sense their voices. Between the pinewood walls and concrete steps into the dark, the light bulb with 40 watts, dead nods. Then you feel the kick, and that's the start. The startled breath that reminds the tongue you had to expunge the final spouts of blood. Like some comical vision, onto the vellum sheets it goes, blood spatters and gore. And don't dare cut your hips on the glass, or look for the skirts, the empty. The empty smoldering chairs. Don't search, don't bleed. At least not too much, you'll know. Up the stairs, through the light of the silent rooms, blinds half open wide, like the chasm in the heart of the wild within, a startled child blossoming from hate and concerta. Open the chest, swallow the skeleton key so you can further open the drugs. Expel the dark inside with the blooming fire and hide. Curl up and hide, upstairs, and awake with the second kick, and the shades whisper again in the cold wrappings of night.
Hi, my name is Dante. I'm a four-year senior, and I live in Idlewild, but I used to live in Los Angeles. This poem is called Empty Attractions. There are not many houses here, and they might as well be empty. One of them is surrounded by a tall blue fence. A lot of them are surrounded by fences. There are palm trees growing here, but they look like they're decaying. Someone was shot in the head last week when he was walking from school behind the house with the barred windows. I never met him, but apparently he was a nice guy. I have a friend who lives in an apartment complex, which looks like a beige brick. Someday, she will live in a beautiful mansion, surrounded by a hedge, and it will have pillars reaching into the sky. She will be a celebrity, and everyone will know her name. And some people will know my name because I'm her best friend, or one of her friends. Sometimes the shops stay open until 10 o'clock at night, and young people with fancy clothes come to the shops so that they can eat out and buy things. Once I bought ice cream, and it was raspberry with mint and honey, and it was one of the best things I'd ever tasted, and I took a picture of myself eating it. Behind me, there was a wrinkled man with a mustache who looked like he was crying. Nobody paid attention to him.
My name is Lindsay Peach. I'm from
colder than it should have been. Frostbite winds gently brushed through the sky like a paintbrush made of mist, and the crisp solid of snowflake and ice powder gathered together and surrounded every available surface, sidewalk, tree, to even the tips of people's hair who were foolish enough to walk out here in such weather. From dawn till 9, maybe 10 at night, people walk through the raw wall of winter with their heads topped with hats and hoods, wearing giant coats to protect themselves. But as it reached 11, people began to slowly disappear, and at 12, not a single car disturbed the hollowness of the night, awakening a single soul. As if fog formed it, a creature emerged from an empty street corner and walked steadily on a sidewalk coated with glassy ice and powdered with white snow. The figure was clothed only in bluish clothing and wore a white mask that covered its mouth and nose. The being's pale skin almost matched the mask, and the eyes of this animal were of a pale sapphire glimmer, setting a calming tone. As the creature walked through the hush of the abandoned town, it hummed in a soft, inhuman voice that emitted through the chill and brought warmth into the town. This being sang to bring peace and calm to all those alive, sick, or restless in spirit. As this happened, a small, wordless lyric spoke through the soul of another kind and awoke it, bringing it forth to the same sidewalk, and came out of a murky mist, having the appearance of a strange monster, which as it straightened itself out seemed human. It walked towards the creature, unseen like a monster, and in milliseconds tore the mask off and came close to its ear, and whispered a quick phrase, where the creature opened its eyes wide and trembled. Falling to the ground, the sound of silence could not have been quieter and any more hollowed than that. The being collapsed on its back and stared at the gray sky with a dead stillness. The monster smiled, continuing on its way. It paused as if it heard something, and then smiled a sinister smile. It looked upwards and closed its crystal blue eyes, taking out of its white coat a long gray knife. This is how it would leave its mark. This is how it can destroy the peacefulness that the creature created. The monster won't let the humans of this world be submerged in the false lies of life. Dropping the knife to the ground, the beast vanished before the girl saw him after turning the corner. She was clothed in a red coat and hat, standing out like a drop of blood on a piece of white paper. Curious, she picked it up with a red-gloved hand and saw the reflection. The knife showed a reflection of what seemed to be a demon with long black hair, a white coat, and a blood-red smile. She looked behind her in a panic but saw none. Though, when she turned forward again, the deep green in her eyes were now a soft, pale color, and started to walk, carrying the knife with an odd, sinister smile placed on her lips, and walked until her crisp, colored coat cleared out of view in the thick wall of mist and fog. She will be the messenger for the monster, and she will let the truth of all that has been a lie.
Senior creative writer, and I'm going to be reading a poem called Desolate Transcription. What a desolate transcription, in which I calculate with little control. Among the linden trees and putrid smog, I look up towards heaven, just waiting. Yet God's voice seems to only retract a sadistic game set to entice the painfully ignorant. With a cut from that sharp blade, my vision immigrates to Athens. Where at the temple of Athena, my soul will find the cure to its paralysis. To discover the uncut truth, to have my eyes open to the miraculous sunlight, to touch the masses lying in my open casket, with the blood spilling from the eyes of a masochist. It's taken almost all of us, but not the diligent. We still burn with every ember. Flying above the guilt and below the gifted, our consciousness stands erect, ready to knock down the usurper like a game of Jenga. The decadence will persist, unrewarded. So let everyone eloquently intertwine to the furthest extent, while words and searches are added to Google. With delicious discussion that we'll forever enjoy, till death do us part. Thank you.
My name is Callie Levan. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm in 11th grade. And I'm going to be reading 3 short stories. And the first one is titled Baby. Baby. She didn't want to be pregnant because she didn't want to be sad. She didn't want to lose. She never wanted to lose. With everything, from spelling competitions to middle school tests to sibling rivalry. The sapphire eyes of her sisters were like punches to her chest. And if she got pregnant and lost it, like the women on television, the biggest bruise, the incurable disease of misery would rain down, hot and heavy. Hands like dry ice enveloped her person when she even thought of losing. And she wondered if, and if so, how, those large-bellied ladies wearing sunflower hair clips and dresses didn't fear. Every time he kissed her, she thought, oh God, what if I marry him? What if we have kids? But the thought was followed by a blush, an impossible consideration. No one wanted to marry black eyes. Sunflower hair clips were just too yellow for her lashes. And what if she lost those too? The second piece is called Broken. Eliza wasn't sick, so to speak. She was simply entertained by interesting things, and, well, interesting things entertain everyone. Like Mentos and soda explosions. Only for Eliza, bigger. Bigger than rock-filled snowball fights. Better than covering the floor with bubble wrap. One Monday morning before school, she took the empty glass coffee bottles from her room and stood on her balcony. Below was a large blue tarp. She threw the bottle down, hard, and listened in triumph as the sound of shattering glass filled the air. Birds soared away from the bushes, and the second, third, fourth bottles hit just as hard, if not harder. Eliza relished in their music and disposed of them in a big plastic barrel that she donated to the art department at school every year. When they didn't break, those tough ones, the ones that bounced off the balloon, those were saved for being filled with rocks and tossed in her neighbor's pool. The splash was followed by the displeased shouts of neighbors and the unmistakable laughter of a girl. And Eliza went to sleep grinning. The third piece is called Roar, like a lion roar. Papa led the riot. Standing tall and lion-like, he marched forward with arm pointed out, and everyone followed. Chant, chant, chant. Mama dreamt that he died. She begged him, saying, no, no, no. Peter doesn't even know the alphabet. He will die, she said. He will die. But Papa had the strut of a leader. Peter and I, like moths on the wall, listened to their shouts, and Mama cried. Papa never struck, but Mama cried. In the morning, we watched the men trudge down the street, a parade to our unworldly eyes. Chant, 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 the scent of sugar and smoke. Tiny triangular flags and a vibrant array of colors filled us with glee, and I held my brother's hand in our bedroom filled with toys. We imagined the cushioned chairs as bad guys and struck them with our button-eyed stuffed dolls. Our Papa, who fought the real chairs, was an inspiration to everyone, except our Mama, who hid behind the chairs. She served our stew hot and fell asleep before it was cold. Thank you.
Paso, Texas, and I'm going to read a slam poem called Happy. Okay. He said, "If not for God, what is it you live for?" I said, "I want to be happy." I said, "I want to be happy." I said, "I want to lie in my deathbed with eyes barely open, and I want to be able to smile, say, this was good. Say my laugh lines, never turned into canals, but fault lines that moved and danced. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be happy." There's a little boy in the Philippines, crouching over a sidewalk collecting rainwater for his little brother who's so thirsty he can hardly move. And he's not happy. And there's a soldier on a plane back home right now with eyes reflecting nothing but a bomb and a mother's steady gaze as she tells her children it's going to be okay, but she knows it's not going to be okay, and she is not happy. Somewhere in the school is a girl I know with a hanging head and eyelids swelled so heavy with bags of salt water that have been held there so long they've seeped into her skin, have left memories engraved onto her bone marrow. How could I have known I was already happy? We want to be happy. So we drink, and we smoke pot and have meaningless sex. We get on our rooftops and scream YOLO to the world, swinging empty beer bottles in our hands. We want to be happy, so we take credit cards and we spend, and we spend, and we spend, and we spend, because the people on the commercials, the actors and the models with the pretty white smiles on their pretty flawless faces, they're happy. Hell, if I wake up sad in the morning and I don't know why, I get on Google and type in early morning depression. I see a link on Health Central that reads, "Do you have morning depression?" And I say, "Yes, I do have morning depression. Fix me, doctor." And I find out I've either got low blood sugar or lack of sleep, and I should go to a morning depression support group, and it's at 2 p.m. And I'm like, what the fuck is a group of people with morning depression going to talk about at 2 p.m.? We want to be happy. But bliss is just as much ignorance as ignorance is bliss. I don't want to be happy. I want to be alive. I want to love with reckless abandon and get my heart broken 1,000 times into millions of pieces before I ever think twice about falling in love. I want to run so fast I fall and scrape my knee on the sunset. I want to get sick and miserable from playing in the rain. Not because I particularly even like playing in the rain, but because it looks so goddamn inspiring when they do it in the movies. Give me this. Give me this. But more than anything, there's a little boy in the Philippines, crouching over a sidewalk collecting rainwater for his little brother who's so thirsty he can hardly move. More than anything, I want his little brother in an ambulance right now getting carried away to the nearest hospital. More than anything, there's a mother telling her children it's going to be okay. I want it to be okay. I want it to be okay more than anything. There's a girl in our school with a hanging head and tears that never made their way out. More than anything, I want to see what she looks like when she smiles.
That was